Happy New Year, everyone. It is 2022, and in this video, I'm going to look at my hopes and dreams and wishes for Newcastle United in 2022. I've come up with 5 main things that I want to see happen this year, and let's get straight into it with number 1. And obviously, number 1 is I hope Newcastle United stay up this season. I think we've got a chance of doing it. I've talked about this a few times in my live streams, and basically, I think that January and February are massive months for Newcastle United now. If Newcastle United have any chance to survive, we've got to put a string of wins together in January and February. Obviously, we've had a couple of games postponed. I think that plays into our hands because obviously the transfer window is open as well. So hopefully with some new signings that can integrate into the team and play in the way that Eddie Howe wants them to play, then I think we absolutely do still have a chance of survival. If you look at the table, we are still in a bad situation, obviously, but we're not that far away from safety. And I always said that if we could get to the new year in touch with, the bottom 4, the bottom 5, then we will be all right. And that has happened, and I believe that will be fine. Now, the second part of this kind of hope is that if we don't stay up, which is a big possibility, I'm not saying that Newcastle are going to survive for certain at all. I think it's a very real possibility that we will go down. But if we do go down, then I really hope that we stick with Eddie Howe. I think the owners will do that because I think Eddie Howe was identified as a man who could keep the team up. But also, if the team were to go down, he would be the one capable of bringing them back up as well. And I think that he's got a track record of bringing teams up through the divisions. And he'd be backed as well, of course, by the owners who are clearly wouldn't want to spend a minute longer than they needed to in the Championship. They would be backed heavily, and I think he would be absolutely capable of building a very, very strong team to get out of the Championship at the first attempt and back into the Premier League. Okay, hope number 2 is I hope that Newcastle buy players in January and August. And I mean, really, it's kind of a hope that I know is going to happen because the owners are so ambitious. Amanda Staveley has come out and said that buying in January is not ideal. They wouldn't normally look to do that, but because of the situation we're in, it's going to happen, and it needs to happen. And what I want to see really is I want to see us identify players in all of the key areas. With Wilson injured now, we must buy a striker at least in January, like at least one in January, and I think we will do that. We had to buy one anyway, in my opinion, because Wilson, you couldn't just rely on Wilson and one other because Wilson is quite injury prone. As good as he is injury prone. You're not going to get a full season out of him. So we must bring in at least one striker. But the big area for me is midfield and defence. And really, we're conceding too many goals. We know that. And the big reason for that is because we're not defending well enough. And it's not just the defenders that aren't defending well enough. It's the fact that the midfield unit is not working in harmony with the defence as well. So it's leaving our defence exposed. So what I want to see is bringing some midfield players who are going to really, make our midfield much harder to break down and get in behind. Because a lot of our goals, if you look, come from fullbacks who have been completely overrun because there's just no one not tracking back properly, and that kind of positional play just hasn't been there in a defensive sense. So Joe Linton gives you options to work with there. He could well become a very good central midfield player, I think. And, his break-up play and all that kind of stuff he's very, very good at. So we might already have someone in the squad who's capable of putting in some big performances in a very, very important area for us. However, we still need to buy new players in central midfield and possibly even looking at the wings as well, because we're a bit lightweight and we need wingers who can defend as well as attack. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, but I expect in January, I expect to see at least 4 or 5 players come in, some of them on loan. And then in the summer, I expect a massive rebuild, regardless of what division we're in. So we could see, another 5 or 6 players come in the summer as well. Okay, the third thing that I really want to see in 2022 is I want to see some plans for a new training facility. We know the owners have big ambitions for the club, and what I really want to see as part of that vision is this whole rebuilding of the club from the ground up. And that starts with the training facilities, really. And let's be honest, our training ground is a disgrace for a Premier League club. It is not up to standards. There's Championship clubs with better training facilities than us. There's even League One clubs that have better training facilities than us. And that's not good enough. That just shows how much we have stood still and gone stale under Mike Ashley's ownership. And really now is the time to start those infrastructure things moving very, very quickly. And I know that the aim is on survival this season, but at some point this year, I really, really, really want to see some plans for a new training ground. And what I think is it will happen on a new site. I think it won't be on the current site. I think they'll look for somewhere bigger. And the reason for that is if they want to build this club into what we think they want to build it into, which is a club that will rival, Manchester City in terms of infrastructure and that kind of thing, then they're going to be looking to build a massive complex for all the teams that wear Newcastle United. So the women's team, the under-23s, all the youth teams. There's going to be like a sporting village that will be absolutely amazing, where it hosts all of the different teams that wear Newcastle United, and I can't wait to see that. So I hope we see plans for that this year. I don't think that's going to get built this year, but I really want to see the plans for that and the commitment to start building that at some point in the next year or two. And the fourth hope and dream I have for this year is that I want the owners to invest some more money in St James's Park. Now, again, I'm not talking about an extension at this point. What I am talking about is carrying on some of the good work they've already started. So yes, they've cleaned the windows. Yes, they've taken down those hideous blue and red signs that we all hated and wanted gone from the stadium. And the stadium looks much better for that already, and that's amazing. But what I want to see happen now is things like continue tidying it up. They could improve the concourse areas really easily, in my opinion, by doing a few things like painting it, putting some better lighting in, replacing all those pictures of Newcastle legends from the past and putting more updated ones in, putting brand new TVs in that people can actually see without using a magnifying glass, upgrading like the toilets, making sure that the kiosks are actually better and are staffed better as well. All those things just for the concourse area would make it a load better. And one other big thing that I really, really think is important in 2022, because we're now well into the 21st century, is I want to see the ground have full free internet connectivity for all fans. So really, really good Wi-Fi. And I know there'll be people out there who are saying, oh, why do you want your phone and that at the match? Are you there to watch the match? And I get that argument, but we live in 2022. People they have their phones all the time on them, and it is so irritating when you're at the match and you can't access the internet at half time or before the match, because as soon as the ground gets too full, you lose your signal and there's no Wi-Fi. So for me, it is important, and I want to see that happen. And some of the bigger stadiums and the better stadiums that have been built since we've had St James's Park worked on now include those things for all fans, and it should just be the way it is these days. Okay, and my fifth and final thing that I want to see happen in 2022 is I want to see this great communication and link between the club and the fans continue to grow well, because it's been wonderful since the new owners have come in. We've had frequent updates from the club as and when has been necessary, which has been lovely. We've had a happy Christmas message, we've had a New Year's message from the owners, and all that kind of stuff is just, it's like the little things that just make it life better for the fans. And what I've been really impressed with is that the social media team for Newcastle United have been able to spread their wings and show what they're capable of doing. And we're starting to see some really good content appear on the social media channels for Newcastle United. And that includes on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on the official club website. We've had exclusive interviews. There's just been more content put out there, and I love to see that, and I want to see more of that. And what I'd love to see happen in 2022 is the club and some of these supporter groups or just supporters having the opportunity to put their ideas to the club and work in harmony with just what expectations do the fans have, and how can the club accommodate some of those things that are realistic. And I think we've not had that for so long. It's been missing under the Ashley regime, to a point where it was a disgrace, actually. And working together will be of benefit for the owners and the supporters. And I think that if there's one thing I really, really want to see, apart from us stay in the Premier League, it's probably this one. It's this link between the ownership and the fans is absolutely, it's just so important for any football club. And like I say, we haven't had it for a decade and a half, and it's just so important that the fans have a voice. So finally, just before I go, let me know in the comments below what your hopes and dreams are for the club in 2022. There's probably a million things I could have said that I haven't said, so let me know if you've got anything different or if you'd like to add anything to my list. Just put them in the comments below. I'll read every comment that is made. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will be back really soon with another video.